How do I study cloud computing in the era of AI? You see, we are in a point in time where AI is transforming the way of doing a lot of things, from how we do our normal jobs, and then it's even proceeding to impact how we live our normal lives. Basically, wherever you pass, there is a form of AI tool or there is a form of AI thing happening in there. So in this video, I'm going to discuss a couple of tips and roadmap that is going to help you study your cloud computing in the era of AI, and this is going to set you apart from being like any random person generating any code to do certain tasks, to an actual cloud engineer who is unstoppable and ready for actual work in this new era. Let's dive right into it. I will proceed to talk about some of the big problems you are facing right now when it gets to people learning tech or cloud computing. The first thing you see people do is now people are trying to get into tech, or more importantly cloud computing, by skipping the fundamentals. So basically all people are doing is they are relying heavily on these AI models without necessarily knowing or understanding what they seek to do. And then the greatest worry here is people are just relying on these AI tools without understanding what the AI tool is generating for them. So they just go in there, they key in their prompt, they see the results, and that's pretty much it. They don't really understand what is happening. So another big problem right now is people are just chasing certification all over. People are just going in there, buying courses, and then buying practice exams, and then they just study and then write and get a certification without understanding how raw solutions and systems are built. And one last problem I'd like to draw attention to is people are only fixing their eyes on hot topics. So basically all that they are doing is they get a keyword and they jump onto it. They hear there is a new service out there called Bedrock, they begin to do it. There is a new thing there called Kendra, they begin to study it without really understanding how all these things fit into their way of doing things. And then this is a problem because, as I mentioned earlier on, these people went ahead to skip the fundamentals and they don't really understand what is happening. They are just following the noise around. And to be honest, this is not a better way of studying tech or cloud computing in any way or form. Just see it this way. You can't automate what you don't understand. If you don't understand how the system is working, how are you going to use AI to automate certain things? How are you going to use AI to improve your way of doing things? So let me quickly jump into our serious game plan on how you can actually study cloud computing in this era of AI. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is to build your foundation. You see, this is very important. No matter the form of tech you are learning, I'm going to break this into two components. But I want you to understand that the foundation is very important because just as in building, whatever you build is heavily going to be dependent on the foundation you laid. If the foundation you laid wasn't strong enough, it can't hold the structure you seek to build up. So same in tech. If your foundation is not good, and then you proceed to learn some few other stuff, you're always going to end up struggling. When I talk about building your foundation, I'm going to break it down into two components. The first component is building your actual tech foundation. When I say tech or IT foundation, what I mean is understanding the core principle of tech. So no matter what you are currently learning, whether it's software engineering, whether it's cloud computing, DevOps, data engineering, there are certain core tech things you have to understand. One key example is understanding your basic networking. What IP address means, what subnet means, what DNS means, what encryption means, basic core monitoring, why do we monitor stuff, and all that. It's very important to have all these things checked. So when you are seeking to jump into cloud computing, or when you are seeking to jump into DevOps, or whatever you are seeking to do in tech, I want you to know that that's first thing you got to do is to understand the initial IT things. So when you're done studying your tech fundamentals or your IT fundamentals, the next thing you're going to do is to look at the fundamentals of the actual cloud service you are looking at studying. So basically, it can be any cloud, it can be GCP, AWS, or Azure. What matters is understanding and building a strong foundation. So all that you are going to do is look for the key or the core components of this search cloud and then begin to learn things around that. So for example, if you're on AWS, look at the key and the core services. So one, you start with probably security, you look at IAM, you look at what encryption actually means in cloud, the form of encryptions and all that. If you come into monitoring, you look at the core and the key services. You can probably look into S3 for storage, EBS and all that. So basically all that you are doing is you have studied your tech fundamentals and then you've proceeded to pick a particular cloud, and then you are building a very solid foundation upon which you are going to proceed to build all your actual systems. So one mistake I see people do, especially those coming in from the non-tech background, to techers, they just jump into a particular cloud service and they begin to study the service too without learning the core tech fundamentals I discussed earlier on. So it's very important you go through all these steps. Now, the second phase of your cloud journey is going to be building actual projects. Now, this is very crucial, and then this is where AI begins to come in. You see, we are at a point in time where it's very easy to build certain projects. There are certain projects you can probably do the whole implementation using the help of AI. AI will give you a detailed step-by-step as to how to achieve what you are going to build. So building the project itself now is not really a big deal, but understanding how the core components of the project works together is where the problem lies. So people are building or people are coming up with certain solutions through the help of AI without understanding that that is not how you are going to study cloud computing in this new era. AI in itself can generate a form of solution to you. But the problem here is the solutions are not going to sometimes be proper, or they are not going to meet high standards, right? When you use such solutions in real world without making the needed modification to it, you realize that you begin to have a lot of issues. So in an era where AI can help you generate project ideas, where AI can give you step-by-step guide on how to do certain implementation, yes, it's good, it's great, but what you have to understand is, as AI generates the solution for you, or as you begin to build actual projects, what you don't have to do is to rely heavily on AI to give you virtually everything. Basically, all that you got to do is you can use the AI to help you with your idea generation for the project. You can sometimes rely on the step, but whatever step you begin to actually implement, you have to ensure that you understand what you are building. Because if you understand what you've built together or in conjunction with the AI, that's when you can talk about it confidently. So people have worked on massive projects. If you ask them basic questions about it, they don't even know where the components is working. There are people can just sit down and then generate basically infrastructure as code and then just deploy the resources. So those people do have deployed the resources, but they don't know what's going on with the whole implementation they are even trying to sell. And that's not a way of studying cloud computing in this new era. The next phase of this journey is to introduce infrastructure as code and automation. So we are in a world where a lot of manual processes are being get rid of. Basically, we are setting up certain pipelines. We are doing our best to automate a lot of things we do on the daily basis. And one of the best ways, or one of the easiest ways you can help do that, is using all these AI tools. But again, the key point here now is you have to understand what you are doing. If you don't know what you are doing, AI is not going to help you automate it, or nothing, or you can't automate it properly. All I'm trying to say at this stage is you need to understand the key components, or you have to understand the key elements of things like infrastructure as code. When we say infrastructure as code, what does this actually mean? You don't just have to rely heavily on AI to generate your code for you. That's, for example, if you're using CloudFormation, you don't just rely on AI to generate the code to provision the resource for you, but you have to try and understand each component of the code that the AI tool is going to generate for you. And next thing is now you begin to learn how to work with pipelines, work with Git workflows and version control and all those core and basic stuff, right? It's very important to understand this, because as I say, AI is just going to help you automate the things you know how to do already. If you don't know how to do it, and then you don't understand the underlying infrastructure, the underlying principles, you can get a working solution, but the solution is not going to benefit anyone, even yourself. And now the final phase in our game plan is to start adding AI. So there are a lot of AI services out there that, as someone getting into tech anew or someone getting into cloud computing anew, you have to begin to have certain knowledge about. So as I said in the first phase, where I was cautioning people from just following bars and keywords, if you've gone through the phase one, if you went ahead to learn or build a solid foundation, if you build real projects, and then you've learned how to automate and use infrastructure as code, what you can do next is now begin to bring this AI tools and AI keywords you begin to hear into some of your implementation. And why this works is, at that point of introducing AI into it, you know how to build most of your core systems. You know how your core systems are working. So at that point, you can begin to learn stuff like Bedrock, SageMaker, Comprehend, and all those tools. So all that you are doing at this stage is, you know how to build the actual system, and then now you are using AI to make it better and efficient. So before I wrap up this video, I want to tell you this. AI is not going to replace all cloud engineers. AI is going to replace cloud engineers who, one, don't know or understand their fundamentals, AI is going to replace cloud engineers who don't know what they are actually doing. So if you are someone seeking to get into cloud computing and you have the opportunity to study cloud computing in the right way. Don't be like people who are basically just relying on AI to generate virtually everything for them without understanding what they seek to do. So I want to tell you this. Cloud engineering is not dead. Software engineering is not dead, as some will make it seem. But rather, it's in the process of transforming. And then if the tech itself is transforming, then how you proceed to learn the tech is also transforming. What is actually dead is lazy learning. You can choose to rely on AI to virtually do everything for you at this stage in your career, and the truth is that is not going to end well, and that's because the tech revolution keep on happening rapidly, and the only thing that remains constant is the tech fundamentals, how the tech foundation and stuff work. So it's very important that you build these things and then you follow this roadmap that we are discussing today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Kindly feel free to drop a like to this video and then leave in the comment section where you are currently at in your cloud journey, and then also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.